The Fallout Season 3 first look wastes absolutely no time setting the tone, and the tone is dark, tense, and uncomfortable in the best way possible. Right from the start, the trailer leans heavily into the consequences of everything we saw in the Season 2 finale. You can feel that the world has shifted. The Wasteland doesn't look chaotic in the usual way anymore. It looks controlled, watched, and slowly changing. We hear scattered radio chatter, short lines filled with fear and confusion, hinting that people are noticing something is off. Some settlers sound calmer than usual, almost too calm, while others are clearly panicking because their neighbors aren't acting like themselves anymore. This lines up perfectly with Hank's mind control experiment, and the trailer strongly suggests that the effects are spreading faster than anyone expected. What's even more disturbing is that no one seems to know why it's happening, only that it started after that button was pushed. The Enclave presence is also impossible to ignore here. We don't get full answers, but we see symbols, armored figures in the distance, and massive structures that look way too advanced to belong to any Wasteland faction we know. It's clear now that the Enclave isn't operating in the shadows anymore. They're active, organized, and preparing for something big. And then there's the NCR. The trailer doesn't just confirm they're back. It shows they're moving. Troops, checkpoints, and that familiar sense of order trying to push back against the chaos. But the big question is whether they're actually in control or if they're already one step behind. Lucy and Maximus appear only briefly, but their expressions say everything. They don't look relieved, they look overwhelmed, like they're realizing how deep the situation really goes. This first look isn't about action for the sake of action. It's about tension, build-up, and the fear of what's coming next. Season 3 isn't asking who will win. One of the most interesting things about the Season 3 trailer is how heavily it focuses on mystery rather than answers, and that's exactly what makes it so effective. We get several quick moments that seem disconnected at first, but the more you think about them, the more they start to form a very unsettling picture. The trailer strongly hints that Phase 2 isn't some sudden attack or massive explosion. Instead, it feels slow, calculated, and psychological. There are scenes of settlements that look strangely peaceful, almost frozen in time, while nearby areas are clearly falling apart. This contrast suggests that Hank's devices didn't just flip a switch overnight, but are gradually rewriting behavior. People aren't becoming obedient soldiers or mindless robots. They're becoming less violent, more passive, and completely unprepared for the reality of the Wasteland. And that's the scary part. The trailer seems to ask a very uncomfortable question. What happens when kindness becomes a weakness in a world that survives on brutality? We also get subtle hints that some characters are starting to notice the pattern. There are brief lines of dialogue about people not fighting back and letting things happen, which implies that those without the device are realizing something is deeply wrong. This sets up a natural divide in the Wasteland, those who are changing and those who aren't. And if history has taught us anything in Fallout, divisions like this never end peacefully. On top of that, the Enclave's role becomes even more disturbing here. We don't see Steph directly, but her presence is felt everywhere. The trailer makes it clear that whatever she unleashed is no longer about her survival. It's bigger than that now. The Enclave seems to be monitoring the effects, gathering data, and possibly even adjusting the outcome in real time. That alone suggests this was never an experiment meant to stop violence. It feels more like a test run for control on a massive scale. Meanwhile, the NCR's involvement starts to look less heroic and more desperate. They're trying to stabilize regions that are already slipping through their fingers, and the trailer subtly hints that their usual methods might not work this time. Guns and authority don't mean much when the enemy isn't a person, but an idea spreading through the population. By the end of this section of the trailer, one thing becomes painfully clear. Season 3 isn't building toward a single villain. It's building toward a world where no one can agree on what saving the Wasteland even looks like anymore. The trailer then shifts its focus toward the road ahead, and that's where things start to feel personal again. Cooper's journey is clearly at the heart of Season 3, even though the trailer keeps him just out of reach. We don't see much of him directly, but his presence hangs over everything like a shadow. There are repeated references to Colorado, scattered through background dialogue, maps, and old-world markers, making it obvious that this is still his destination. But just like he warned us before, the road is never straight. The trailer leans hard into that idea. showing a wasteland filled with distractions, dangers, and side paths that pull him further away from his goal. This isn't just about physical obstacles either. There's a strong emotional weight here. We hear lines that hint at guilt, regret, and unfinished business, suggesting that Cooper isn't just chasing answers about his family. He's also running from the damage he helped cause. The flashbacks teased in the trailer imply that his past with the Enclave is far from fully explored, and season the 3rd of May finally forced him to confront how deeply he was involved, even if it was unintentional. At the same time, Lucy and Maximus feel more unified than ever, but also more conflicted. The trailer shows them moving together, clearly on a mission, yet their goals don't seem perfectly aligned anymore. Lucy still believes in saving people, even those affected by the mind control devices, while Maximus appears more realistic, maybe even harsher, about what survival actually requires. That difference in perspective could become a serious problem as the season progresses. Thaddeus is also hinted at here, mostly through moments of dark humor that cut through the tension, but even those moments feel heavier than before. The trailer suggests that the group is heading toward a crossroads, one where choosing the right path might cost them everything else. And hovering over all of this is the question of reunion. Will Cooper actually reach Colorado? Will Lucy and Maximus find him before the Enclave does? The trailer refuses to answer any of that, and instead leaves us with a feeling that the journey itself is going to be just as important and just as dangerous as the destination. As the trailer pushes forward, the scale of Season 3 really starts to sink in, and this is where everything feels bigger, heavier, and far more dangerous than before. The conflict is no longer limited to a few vaults or scattered settlements. The wasteland itself feels like it's on the brink of reshaping. We see signs of multiple factions moving at once, not just reacting, but planning. The NCR appears more organized, but also more strained, as if they're being forced to stretch their influence too thin. There are hints of internal disagreement, quiet arguments about whether restoring order is even possible when people are no longer acting out of fear or self-preservation. This suggests that the NCR may be facing a crisis from within, not just from outside threats. At the same time, the Enclave's vision becomes clearer, and it's unsettling. The trailer frames their actions almost like a twisted form of progress. There are lines about ending the cycle and correcting human behavior, which strongly imply that Phase 2 is meant to prove that violence can be engineered out of humanity. But Fallout has never been kind to ideas like that. The trailer subtly reminds us that forcing peace often creates something far worse. We also get brief, haunting moments that suggest the mind-controlled individuals are starting to fail in the wasteland. They aren't adapting. They're being exploited, manipulated, and wiped out by those who haven't changed. This creates a moral nightmare for Lucy, who clearly sees them as victims, not threats. Maximus, on the other hand, seems to understand that the wasteland doesn't care about intentions. This growing divide between survival and morality feels like it's going to be one of the core emotional battles of the season. Even the visuals hinted at in the trailer feel colder and more sterile, especially when Enclave technology is involved, contrasting sharply with the dirty, broken world around it. That contrast alone makes it clear that Season 3 isn't just about who controls the wasteland, but about whether control itself is the real enemy. By this point in the trailer, the tension isn't explosive, it's suffocating, like everything is being slowly pushed toward a breaking point that no one can stop. The final moments of the Season 3 trailer don't try to shock you with explosions or big reveals. Instead, they leave you uneasy, and that might be the most Fallout thing possible. Everything slows down. The music fades into low, distorted sounds, and the focus shifts to consequences. We're reminded that every choice made so far has led to this point. Hank's button, Steph's signal, Cooper's past, Lucy's hope, Maximus's realism. The trailer suggests that Season 3 is where all of these paths finally collide. There's a strong sense that no one is walking away clean this time. The Enclave's Phase 2 feels less like a single event and more like a chain reaction that can't be undone. Even if the technology is destroyed, the damage has already been done. Trust is breaking down. People are questioning their own behavior, their neighbors, and even themselves. The NCR, despite all its power, looks like it's trying to hold water with broken hands. Order can't be forced when the rules of survival have changed. And then there's Cooper, still moving, still searching, but now clearly aware that reaching Colorado might not give him the answers he wants. It might only confirm how badly the world was broken long before the bombs ever fell. The trailer closes on a feeling rather than an answer. The feeling that the Wasteland is entering a new era, one where violence isn't the only threat anymore. Control, manipulation, and false peace may be far more dangerous. Season 3 doesn't promise heroes or Vic. If there's one thing this first look makes absolutely clear, it's that Fallout Season 3 isn't interested in playing it safe. The trailer feels like a promise that the story is about to get more uncomfortable, more emotional, and way more unpredictable. Every faction thinks they're doing the right thing, and that's what makes the situation so dangerous. The Enclave believes control will save humanity. The NCR believes order will fix the Wasteland. Lucy believes people can still be saved. Maximus believes survival comes first. And Cooper? He seems caught somewhere in the middle, carrying the weight of a past that refuses to stay buried. The trailer suggests that these beliefs are about to clash hard, and when they do, there won't be a clean winner. What's really exciting is how Season 3 appears ready to slow things down when it matters, letting tension and character decisions drive the story instead of constant action. That's where Fallout shines the most. The Wasteland feels alive, reactive, and dangerous in ways we haven't fully seen before. By the time the trailer ends, you're not left asking when Season 3 is coming out. You're left wondering how far things are going to fall before anyone can pull them back. And that's the real hook. Fallout Season 3 isn't about rebuilding the old world. It's about deciding what kind of new world is worth surviving in. The strongest thing about this Season 3 trailer is how confident it feels in letting silence and uncertainty do the heavy lifting. It doesn't rush to explain itself, because it doesn't need to. By now, the audience understands that the Fallout universe is built on cause and effect, and this trailer leans fully into that idea. Every quiet moment feels loaded, like something terrible could happen at any second. You get the sense that Season 3 will challenge characters in ways that aren't physical first, but psychological. Who do you trust when people can be changed without even knowing it? How do you fight an enemy that doesn't always look like one? These questions hang over the entire trailer, and they're clearly meant to follow us into the new season. There's also a strong feeling that alliances won't be stable for long. The NCR's return may bring structure, but structure in the Wasteland has a habit of cracking under pressure. The Enclave, meanwhile, feels more patient than ever, as if they're willing to let everyone else tear each other apart while they step in at the perfect moment. And through all of this, Lucy's optimism is tested harder than it ever has been before. The trailer suggests that Season 3 will force her to decide whether hope is something you protect at all costs or something you're willing to sacrifice to save others. By the end, it's clear that Fallout Season 3 is setting up a story where survival isn't just about staying alive. It's about choosing what kind of person you're willing to become when the world keeps taking pieces of you away. The trailer closes by making one thing unmistakably clear. Fallout Season 3 is about consequences, and nothing, no plan, no hero, no faction, is safe from them. Every choice made in the past is rippling forward, and the trailer shows glimpses of the fallout, both literal and figurative. We see settlements that were once thriving, now quiet, eerily controlled, or teetering on the edge of collapse. The mind control devices, Hank's experiments, and Steph's Phase 2 aren't just plot points anymore. They're shaping the world in a way that feels unavoidable, relentless, and deeply personal. Cooper's journey toward Colorado, teased throughout, carries more weight than ever. It isn't just a destination. It's a test of whether he can survive the moral and physical obstacles that now define the Wasteland. The trailer makes it clear that side quests and distractions won't just be detours. They may be the very things that shape the outcome of the main story. Lucy, Maximus, and Thaddeus are more than just companions. They represent the fragile thread of hope, morality, and strategy that could either pull the Wasteland back from the brink or snap completely under pressure. And the Enclave looms like an unstoppable shadow, patient, calculating, and fully aware of every move the others make. By the time the trailer ends, the tension is almost unbearable. Fallout Season 3 isn't promising simple victories or traditional heroics. It's promising a world where decisions matter, where survival comes at a cost, and where the line between right and wrong is thinner than ever. If this first look is any indication, the season is ready to push characters and viewers into morally gray territory. delivering suspense, thrills, and surprises at every turn. Every frame, every line, and every quiet moment in this trailer screams one thing. Fallout Season 3 isn't just continuing the story, it's changing the rules entirely, and the Wasteland will never feel the same again. The final layers of suspense in the Season 3 trailer come from the sense that the world itself has become a character, unpredictable and unforgiving. The Wasteland isn't just a backdrop anymore. It reacts, shifts, and tests every decision the characters make. We see fleeting glimpses of chaos at the edges of settlements, fires burning without cause, scavengers picking through ruins in ways that hint at something bigger, and subtle changes in behavior that suggest Hank's devices are reaching farther than anyone realized. Even the quiet moments are heavy with tension, as if something is lurking just off-screen, ready to disrupt everything at any second. The trailer also teases the deeper consequences of the Enclave's Phase 2, showing that their control isn't limited to individuals. It's beginning to shape entire regions. For Lucy, Maximus, and Thaddeus, this means every move carries a weight they can't fully predict. Cooper's journey, while central, now feels almost secondary to the larger struggle unfolding around him, highlighting that survival in this new wasteland is as much about navigating chaos as it is about reaching a goal. There's a constant push and pull between hope and danger, morality and pragmatism, freedom and control. The trailer ends on a note of ambiguity, leaving viewers with more questions than answers, which perfectly sets the tone for a season where every choice can tip the balance. Fallout Season 3, even in its first look, promises tension, suspense, and a world where no one and nothing is safe. It's a season built on consequences, and judging by this trailer, the Wasteland is about to change in ways we never expected. The most chilling part of the Fallout Season 3 trailer is how it positions the audience to feel the stakes in every frame. It's not just about what the characters do, it's about how their actions ripple across the Wasteland, changing lives, alliances, and the very rules of survival. The trailer emphasizes that no one is untouchable. Settlements once considered safe are now unpredictable, and even the most powerful factions, the NCR and the Enclave, are shown to be vulnerable in ways that feel new and terrifying. There's a persistent tension between order and chaos, freedom and control, that underlines every moment. The trailer also hints at the emotional toll these changes will take. Lucy's hope is tested against impossible odds. Maximus's pragmatism is forced to confront moral dilemmas that have no clear answers. Cooper's journey, filled with distractions and dangers, suggests that even the noblest intentions can backfire in the Wasteland. By leaving questions unanswered, will Cooper reach Colorado? Can the Wasteland survive Phase 2? Who will survive when morality and survival collide? The trailer succeeds in creating suspense that lingers long after it ends. Fallout Season 3 isn't promising easy victories or clear heroes. It's promising a world where every decision carries weight. Every character faces impossible choices, and every moment could redefine the Wasteland. From the first frame to the last, the trailer makes one thing unmistakable. Season 3 is about consequences, survival, and the relentless unpredictability of a world that refuses to be tamed. And if this first look is anything to go by, the stakes have never been higher, and nothing will ever be the same.